Hi guys, welcome to the show. I'm Lisa Akbari, your hair doctor, and I'm here for another edition of Ask the Hair Doctor. And I have your questions right in front of me. Let's see, there are some questions that I forgot I skipped over last time. I'm sorry, guys. I've got them all typed out, but sometimes I just kind of keep going and I miss some of them. But I'm going to start with those. I've got them highlighted, so I want to make sure that I get those first. All right. It says, I need help with my hair. It's breaking off or shedding, and I'm not sure which one it is. It doesn't seem to grow. I hear that all the time. Well, first we need to decide what's shedding and what's breakage. And how do we know that? You want to do a hair inspection. Save about 3 days to 1 week of strands in a Ziploc bag, depending on how much you're losing. Then you want to get, if you have light color hair, you want to get a dark piece of paper. If you have dark color hair, you want a light piece of paper. Sit at a desk or table, plenty of light, and then you start to separate them. The hairs, you'll have probably 3 different categories of hairs. One, you'll look for a club-like tissue on the end called the hair bulb. Put that in a pile. Then the second one, you'll look for some really thin pieces, maybe the length of your shaft. Put those in a pile. And then we have these little small pieces that are kind of chipping away. Then you put those in a pile. And then you read. That will tell you the ones that have the club-like tissue hair bulb, that's the one that's shedding. Shedding is a normal, natural process. So shedding is okay. But if we're shedding excessively, like we're losing lots of hair and they're all shedding, then you need to send it in for a strand reading to see if we have shedding hair that's shedding when it should be growing. All right. The ones that are breaking away, the other two, that's breakage. You either layer peeling or you have what we call clear breaks. Dehydration, chemical overheat could cause those. You can have the strand reading by going on my website, scroll all the way down to the bottom where it said hair analysis, click on that, and then fill out the strand reading information, send those samples in, and I'll read it for you. Also, in my book, Every Woman's Guide to Beautiful Hair at Any Age, there's a information on strand reading. If you want me to send you a strand reading kit, just email me, lisa@lisaakbari.com, and I'll send you a little Ziploc bag with a little note and teach you how to read your strands, okay? All right, next question. Are the single strand knots due to shedding and layering of natural hair? Yes. Shedding and loss of layers. What happens, and I'll go over this because this is a big deal. Many women with natural hair end up with those little knots. And the reason is because you have your natural shedding, and then because of the friction along the shaft, in many cases we're playing like tug of war with our strands, then you have those layers peeling off of the main strand. So your cuticles are peeling. When the shedded hair comes down that shaft, it catches with those layers, and it creates these little knots. And that's what happens in most cases. So that's what's going on. People say they get them often and they cut them. If you cut them, that's your length. I conducted a study on these little knots, and every time I got one, I would say, okay, there goes my length, because it's still hair. So you lose those layers and they peel down, and if they get to the very end, they cause problem with your elasticity and you end up breaking the ends off. So you do lose your length. Don't cut them. You can treat them. But the best way to not have those is to prevent them. And the way you prevent them is by making sure that you dress your hair for bed every night. Do not lay on a fro, ladies. You can't do, and gentlemen, you cannot lay on a fro. If you lay on a fro, it will control you. Your natural hair, one thing you all want to remember, you will either control the natural hair or it will control you. You cannot allow it to get out of control. And how do you stop it? By dressing it for bed, making sure that you don't create any tangles so you don't have to remove them, things like that. We're going to go to my website at lisaakbari.com and look at some of the videos that I have on my natural hair page about how to shampoo the hair. How I'll put on information about detangling. all those kinds of things. But you want to prevent the tangle so you don't have to remove it, so you don't create those little knots. Okay? All right. What does an itchy scalp mean? That's the next question. An itchy scalp is just like a headache. A headache says I'm hungry, I'm tired, I'm sick, something more serious, whatever. Itchy scalp says my scalp is dirty, or my scalp is damaged. I may be healing from a problem. I may be growing hair. And sometimes I may be going in a disease state. So you want to check out an itchy scalp. It's just a signal that says that something's wrong. Start with cleaning your scalp. Staying with a mild acidic clarifying shampoo. That's 4.5 to 5.5. And then you want to make sure you lightly oil your scalp and using oils that are very skin friendly. We talked about that before. Making sure you rub a little bit on the back of your hand. If it goes right into your skin, it's okay. You can have a very densely packed oil in a jar, but you want to make sure that when you rub it on the back of your hand that it goes right into the skin. So that will help. But an itchy scalp means there's something wrong. Start with cleaning, and then if the problem persists, you need to see a trichologist so they can tell you whether it's on a first degree skin damage, or if it's in a what appears to be a disease state, so they can recommend the dermatologist. Okay? Next question. Can you please compare the benefits of deep conditioning with a hooded dryer with a plastic cap versus a hair steamer? Okay, with a plastic cap. All right. The conditioning with a hooded dryer is very indirect heat. It allows your hair to slowly reach its temperature. That's why you should start out with the dryer, turn it on, and then sit under it, unless you're trying to steam your scalp. You start with turn it on and then sit under on medium setting. Your hair should raise up to about 60 degrees for optimum penetration, and that's going to be enough. You won't start to sweat and get all hot. If you use a steamer, it's going to do just that. It's going to steam your pores. That's when you're trying to detox your scalp, but you don't want to steam your hair, because when you steam it, it's going to cause your scalp to sweat, and you're going to dump that waste and salt back on the scalp. So when it dries, it's going to dry out. So you don't want to steam. You always want to use the hooded dryer, okay? And plus, some of the hair steamers, some of the steam caps, as they used to call them, those will burn. So you have to be very, very careful. But the main reason is because you do not want your scalp to sweat. Optimum penetration, 60 degrees, hooded dryer, you're safe. Okay? Next question. What would you recommend for my two daughters? They have different hair textures. One has thick hair and the other fine. I keep their hair in braids, but I worry about their hair being too dry after a few days. Okay. Braiding is not a problem. The size of the strand will help you to know more about the size of the follicle. And so what you want to remember, if you have fine hair, you're not going to be able to handle a lot of extensions. So you got to make sure that you don't put a lot of extensions, or heavy, long extensions, I'll say. Because even if they're light, or they're the hair that you extend with, that hair is light, you want to make sure that it's not long, because that'll still be weight. You want to go no further than the shoulder. And you want to make sure that if you are with coarse hair, or thicker hair, as you said, thicker hair, then you want to make sure that you are not putting them so tight around the hairline. That's really important. Now, you have to feed that hair, dead protein cells. You have to feed it every day to protect and preserve it. The problem with protective styles like braids and weave and things like that is when we come out of them, in many cases, we have longer hair with poor quality. So it's not really that strong. So you have to be very careful what you do to it, or you feel like you got to go back to the protective style. So on a daily basis, you want to put a leave-in conditioner on, some type of leave-in conditioner. We have conditioners on our site for braid programs. That's the easy way to do it. Or do your research, or if you have a good leave-in conditioner you're pleased with, be my guest. You know what I say. If it's not broken, don't try to fix it. You can use that as well. And a moisturizer. And then you want to oil your scalp between the parts and make sure that you keep your scalp lubricated. Now, you also want to clean. Every 3 days, you need to get in the shower, clean on top of those braids. And that's what our braid program will help you to know how to do. All right. So, it says, Dr. Lisa, quick question. It says you say to try to stay away from silicones. Okay, but I said, what do you recommend we use to protect our hair when we blow dry and flat iron? because most of them have the silicone in it, heat protectants. Well, let me tell you, you want moisture binding products, like products that have glycerin in it. You can make your own with a water and glycerin, pure water. It's because it's going to cool the hair down. I have a product called Cool Down. I don't like to really push my products super because a lot of you have your own products, but I have one called Cool Down that has something, heat protectants in it. So it's really important to use products like that that hydrate the hair, because what you're doing is working against the heat. But you've got to dry it in the hair. That's the key, because if you try and put the heat on and after, like with a flat iron, and it's just still kind of damp, it'll frizz. So you want to use it, dry it in the hair, and I recommend that you use one heat instead of two heats. You want to use in other words, one direct heat instead of two direct heats. You want to plait the hair with your heat protectant in it, not the silicone, something like a Cool Down or glycerin type product. And then you want to plait it and dry it. You can sit on a hooded dryer or let it dry overnight. And then you want to use your heated tool. Never more than 250 degrees, 300, for fine hair, 300 medium. You can go up to 400 depending on how coarse the hair is, but you really want to be careful when you get past 300 degrees. Okay, it says, let's see, another question about clarifying shampoos. People are really concerned about that. A lot of the clarifying shampoos may strip, and that's what you have to be careful with. Look for the pH. The cleansing agents are going to, you want to make sure you have mild, that it says mild cleansing agent, or look at the pH, because that tells you a lot about how the cleansing agents are going to be, because the stronger cleansing agents tend to have a higher pH. And it's really difficult to start talking about ingredients and telling you, okay, look for this and look for that, because most people get confused. And sometimes you have, this questions about where this ingredient sits and where that one sits, and you're really concerned. But what I recommend is, number one, you look for shampoos with that pH 4.5 to 5.5. It's just the best way. And I've worked with my chemist, and I'm going to have him on to talk more about clarifiers, because I really want you to get the answer that you're looking for, that's going to really clear up this problem that we have with whether this shampoo is too strong or that one's too strong. I really, really believe that if you look at the pH, in most cases, you're really, really safe. I'll be happy to test any shampoo that you like in my lab, but I just try to stay away from that, because really the consumers have been thoroughly confused. Okay, next question. It says, I'd like to know what you should, I'd like to know what you should do if you notice your hair thinning. A friend of mine has been chemically treating her hair with relaxer. She is in her early 50s, not sure if age plays a role. She uses 3 conditioners. Her hair is on its shoulder length. I told her excessive conditioning could cause the thinning, and to use only 2 conditioners. Okay, I'm not sure what the 3 conditioners are, but I want to tell you what you want to look for in your conditioners. Well, first, let's answer the first part. What do you do when you notice it's thinning? You have to first determine if this is thinning on the strand level or on the scalp level. Strand level would mean when you feel that hair and it's bulky, so the strands are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Now, if you're thinning on a scalp level, you're parting and you can see your scalp look like you have this Christmas tree part. So we have to determine which level that's on. If it's on a strand level, then the conditioners will make a difference. If it's on the scalp level, the conditioners won't do very much. You have to look at other things, like examining to see if that's an external follicular issue, the mouth of the follicle is damaged, blocked in some way, or an internal issue where we're seeing vellus hairs and there's other problems there. So we really have to have the examination to be sure. Now, with that being said, with the conditioners, we want to make sure that we're using conditioners, protein, moisture. You want to protein for strength, moisture for hydration. You want to keep that balance. You can use that under the dryer, deep penetrating. The second conditioner is a good leave-in conditioner. When you put it on, you want to make sure that hair feels nice and soft, but doesn't feel slimy. That's your leave-in conditioner. Lightweight, like you just have very nice, soft hair, not necessarily feel like it's coated with anything. And then you want to look at your moisturizers and your oils. The molecular weight of those are larger, and you're going to feel those in your hair. You have to determine if you need the softness or if you just need the sheen, and that determines those support products. But couple of conditioners are fine. I'm not sure what the third one is, but the conditioners in itself, unless you're using all protein, are not going to make her hair dry. It shouldn't. Some will make it fly away and frizz if she's all moisture. So you have to be careful with that. Okay, next question. Can you talk about thinning? She said edges, but hairline. But it's hairline, guys. All right. Thinning on the hairline can be one of two things. I mentioned the external and the internal. You have to have that check because sometimes there are little infected follicles along that hairline. Those are pimple-type blockages right in the mouth of the follicular unit. Or it could be something more serious. It could be early stages of female pattern baldness, some other type of baldness. You have to absolutely have an examination. I just recommend it highly because I just don't want you guys to start thinking that you can fix a problem by putting something on top of the hairline. You can fix some problems, but if it's an internal follicular problem with that thinning, then you must have that examination to determine what to do. Okay, next question. Let's see. When doing protein moisture treatments, can I sit in the steam room with a bag with a bag, without a bag on my head, with or without a bag on my head? As opposed to sitting on the hairdryer. Steaming, again, get away from the steaming if you're trying to condition. Get in the steam room with your clarifier on. Oh my goodness, great detoxing. Great detoxing. Just sit in the room with that. It's going to make you sweat, but you got to have cotton around your hairline because you want to make sure that that doesn't run in your eye. It's a clarifier because it will sting because it's acidic and that'll sting your eyes. It's not a no more tears. Okay, and then after that, then get in the shower, rinsing well, and you're going to have the best detoxing, home detoxing possible, or spa detoxing possible. It's almost like a spa treatment. But the conditioner, you definitely want a hooded dryer because you don't want to sweat. Sweat with your detoxing on your shampooing, but with the dryer, with the conditioner, you don't want to sweat. So when you sit in the dryer with conditioner, guys, just keep you a nice cool bottle of water, okay? Or filter water. All right, so let's see. Next question. What is your view on natural cleansers? Then tonight we've got a bunch of some clays and removing oils to help with hair and skin. So do you think these are effective? Okay, the clays are not going to help to clean. They're just not going to do it. And I'm hoping I'm reading this right. Natural cleansers such as bentonite and the remove oils, impurities, and yeah. See, you can do you know, their facials, deep pore cleansers, but the clay mask even for the face is put on after it's been cleaned. So you can do these masks and things on your face, but you still have to clean it before and clean it after. So with the hair, these all fall under the umbrella of henna powders. These are all powders, and you mix some water and they turn into, and some of them may be pre-mixed for you. But the thing that you're going to find is they don't rinse as clean from the hair. They really hold on to the hair. It's great for protein, but you're going to have a problem. I don't see them cleaning at all, but I will be more than happy to do a little bit more research on this and give you my feedback at a later show. Okay, it says, okay, it says, can you do a protein moisture deep conditioner each week? Also, can you, oh, I just mentioned that. Yes, I didn't give the other parts of that question. You can do a protein and moisture conditioner every week. You definitely should do at least once a week. Twice a week if you have some hair problems, weak hair, breakage, things like that. Okay, it says, I shampoo and deep condition my hair once a week, and I wear my hair in braid updos mostly. I moisturize my hair every day and with a water-based moisturizer, and then seal with olive oil. I have been having problems with knots on the ends and single strands on the shooting strand. How do I prevent these? We have a lot of questions on knots, and I've got to do a demonstration. Also, I'm going to, at some point, when I get it together, guys, a little better, I'm going to show you guys some things under the microscope, because that is going to be really, really important that you see what this looks like. Well, with all of that being said, getting back to answering her question, I don't recommend the olive oil. I think that you will get better lubrication, so you will have that slick, lubricated, shiny, even distribution of that oil into that cuticle if you use things that are finer, like a jojoba, mink, and I know some of you may not want the mink, but just a jojoba, things like that. Just oils that are just not going to be so dense when it comes to the hair. Now, you can have it densely packed, but it has to be very, very skin friendly. Leave olive oil for the salads. I love it. I use olive oil every night on my salad. Okay, now it says, what are your thoughts on scalp massage? Do they help, hinder, or do nothing at all? Scalp massages are very important. Now, I'm going to show you quickly. Of course, here goes the headband, the type of massage you're supposed to use. Now, you are not to massage like this, because that creates a tangle. If you're going to massage, you press in and you rotate the skin. What the massaging does, it helps to stimulate blood circulation, and it's very therapeutic. So it also helps with healing. So rotate. So you're going to press in and rotate. Let your fingers ride. So you're just pushing in and rotate. And you notice where I'm at. I'm under the hair. Some of you will do this. No, you're going to tangle the hair. You want to go under the hair and press in. Okay? And that way you don't tangle. So yeah, there's some benefits to scalp massage, but if your hair is breaking, and some people think that's going to help the hair get longer, there's a difference between breakage and not growing. It will help with healing the tissue. It may stimulate circulation. Each follicle is a teeny tiny organ, and it needs good stimulation. So it will help with that, but it will not help with breakage, and there's a certain way you have to use it, okay? Balls of the fingers, pressing in, rotating the skin. Okay, next question. Let's see. You have stressed the need for shampoo. We said 4.5 to 5.5. Do all of your products on your line have the pH of or just the shampoo? It's important to be acidic in your shampoo. You want to make sure you're not too alkaline in your, when I say too alkaline, I mean you want to get on the other side of 7 in your other products, but your shampoo is the one that must be 4.5 to 5.5. Okay, last question. What is your advice on incorporating treatments such as the clay? Again, we talked about that. Again, listen to me. These are basically henna powders. These are different types of powders. Henna is great protein. It's vegetable. It's earth. It's wonderful. But the thing is, you have to remember, is it necessary to use them? We're so looking for a savior for our hair. We don't have to use those kinds of powders because they're hard to rinse. That's just my opinion. I'm Lisa Akbari, your hair doctor. I love you guys. To God be the glory in Jesus. I have enjoyed you. Have a great and wonderful rest of your day or your weekend or wherever it is when you're watching this video. And I will see you next week right here on Ask the Hair Doctor. Keep those questions coming.